Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session. We are just going to give it a few more minutes while people log in and get settled down. But if you are logged on and ready to go, you are in the University of Plymouth January 2026 pre-departure webinar with Thomas Austin McGarvey and Nina George, and we'll be starting shortly. We're just going to allow a little extra time just for people who are just connecting now to get logged in. But thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and thank you for joining us in January. We're very much looking forward to having you be a part of the family here at University of Plymouth. Okay, we will make a start then. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's webinar. My name is Thomas Austin McGarvey. I'm the Head of International Student Recruitment here at the University of Plymouth. We are here in today's webinar, which is a pre-departure session for the January 2026 intake. And we'd like to welcome you all to today's session. Speaking with me today is going to be Nina George, who is our Student Immigration Advice Manager here at the university. And we are going to be going through a range of topics, including the different offers that you might be holding and what you need to do in those different situations. We do have some visa information for you, which will be delivered by Nina, and then information on preparing for travel, advice on when you arrive in the UK, how to get to Plymouth. I'm sure that some of you might be coming to Plymouth for the very first time. Don't be nervous, it's very straightforward. I've only recently done the journey from the airport to the city, and it is so simple. And then your first days in Plymouth, what you should expect, what you should plan to do, what it is that will help you to settle into your studies and your life here in the city. And it's a wonderful city to come live in once you join us. Throughout today's session, you do have the ability to ask questions in our Q&A chat, which is being monitored by colleagues of mine, and we will be able to get back to you there. But we do ask, this is a public session, so please don't put anything personal. Don't put your student ID numbers or your names or email addresses in your questions, as we don't want that information being available to everybody. But yes, thank you for joining us. So to jump straight in with offers and what you should be doing. You have all applied, and you have all here today because you hold an offer of some type. Some of you will hold a conditional offer, and that is where we have looked at your application and said that we would like for you to join us, but there's just some final document that we need, some final step that we need for you to complete to be able to join us. And in that offer, it will state what that is. So the first thing you need to do is first of all accept that offer, which hopefully you all have already done. That tells us that you're planning to come and study with us. Then make sure you check your conditions and make sure that you meet your conditions and submit to us the documents that show that you complete. So it might be an English language qualification we need. All you need to do is go load that into the applicant portal, and whatever it is that we're waiting to receive, we can then check and verify that. Once all of your academic conditions are met, you will be invited to pay your deposit and to complete your pre-CAS checklist, and that's very important. Uh, Once you have completed your pre-CAS checklist, that then gets reviewed by us, and if we're happy and everything is in order, we can then issue you with your CAS, which allows you to apply for your visa. You then book your flight, make your accommodation arrangements, and away we go. If you're holding an unconditional offer, then you've already met all of the steps that need to be completed for you to come and join us. You'll be invited to pay your deposit, which you can do, and to complete your pre-cash checklist. And we can then issue you your CAS, and you can then apply for your visa and book your flight as well. So it's very straightforward. Depending on which offer you hold, these are the steps that you need to complete. Some of you may already be further through this. Some of you may already have your visa. We know that some of you do already, and that's excellent. There are scholarships available. So for students who are self-funding, there is the Welcome to Plymouth £4,000 scholarship available for you. That is automatically available to everybody who meets the conditions of their offer, and to make sure that that has been applied to your application and to your record, just go into your applicant portal, click on the funding applications button that you can see. I'm sorry, I'm pointing at this, that you can see on the screenshot here. You will see this in your applicant portal. So you click on view funding applications, and then within that you can see respond to offer at the bottom of the page, and you can see a message like the one that we've got on the screenshot here saying international welcome to Plymouth scholarship, and that's a £4,000 award. You just need to click accept, and then that's applied to you, and you have that £4,000 scholarship uh, towards your place to study with us. Now, as well as that, there is an option to receive a further £500 discount. And all you need to do is just make full payment of your tuition fees before Wednesday, the 7th of January. If you do that, then we are able to give you an additional £500 early payment award, which will be a welcome discount for you on your tuition fee. And there's a bit more information. There's a QR code on the screen right now. So if you want to just go to a web page with more information about this that you can take a look at once we've finished here today, and make sure you've got that information, just scan that QR code that you see on the screen now. It will speed up for a few more seconds, and you can then review that afterwards, and that will be there for you as a source of information. Now, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Nina at this point to tell you a little bit more about our visa information. And Nina, I think you should have control
Lovely.
of
Thank
the
you.
screen now.
Thanks, Tom. Hello, everybody. My name is Nina, and I am the International Student Advice Manager for the university. So the next few slides, we'll be talking about some key information about applying for your visa. I would like to say, though, straight after this webinar, I'm running an in-depth visa information session with my colleague Kath, about 45 minutes long, where we go through everything you need to know applying for a student visa from start to finish. So the following slides will just be a very brief summary, but please join us straight after, and we'll give you a link on how to get access to that session. But I will should give you some basic information now, because it's great that you'll have your offer, you'll get a CAS. Now it's getting to the UK and obviously getting a successful visa application. Okay, let me just see if I can I go to the next screen? Okay, so first of all, when you're applying for advice, applying for your visa from outside of the UK, the university, myself, my small team, we're here in the UK. We can't give individual immigration advice to everybody overseas. Most of you are applying through an agent, which is excellent because the agent is very expert in the whole applying for your degree process as well as applying for the visa. If you do not have an agent, have a look at our web pages and scroll down to your country page, and there should be, well, hopefully there'll be an agent listed in your country. So if you don't have an agent, don't worry, have a look. If you do not have an agent and you do have the odd question, or you need some guidance, then hopefully we can help you. I'm not sure if my one is working, or Tom, I need you to press the button for me. Thank you. Sorry, Tom.
That's okay.
Okay, so when can you apply for your visa? when you've met all your conditions and you've paid your deposit. And obviously, you received your CAS. So without a CAS, you cannot apply for the visa. Now, the CAS is accessed through your applicant portal, and you'll be sent lots of information about how to access that portal when the time is right. So, what you must have, in addition to the CAS, is the correct financial evidence. So, that's living costs and tuition fees. And I'll go into that in a bit more detail. Money to pay the application fee itself and the IHS, the healthcare surcharge. So the healthcare surcharge, if you don't know, is the immigration health surcharge, and it is a mandatory fee which allows applicants coming to the UK to gain full access to our National Health Service, which is the NHS. And that will cover costs for any GP or doctor visits or hospital treatment when you're in the UK. You do have to pay for upfront all in one go as part of the visa application. If you are studying a 1 year master's, it's 1 year fee. If you are studying a PhD, you could have 4 years to pay as a lump sum upfront. So you just need to be prepared with the fees. Your educational documents you'll need, the ones that you provided to get your offer to study in the first place. Any evidence of any gaps in study. So, for example, if you've had, say, 5 years gap from when you finish your higher education in your home country, maybe you were working somewhere for 5 years and you've decided to come back to study, any evidence like that just to show what you were doing and why you're coming back to study. An ATAS certificate. Now, ATAS stands for Academic Technology Approval Scheme, and it's required for some applicants who are studying certain postgraduate research degrees in the UK. If you have not heard of ATAS yet, it's not applicable to you. Our admissions staff will tell you if an ATAS is required. It will be written on your CAS as well. Now, applying for an ATAS can take, say, maybe 2 months to get that approved. So, or 6 weeks to 2 months. So hopefully those who have got an ATAS would already have applied for that. TB certificate in some countries. So that's the tuberculosis. So if you're coming to the UK for 6 months or more and you've lived in a certain country, then you might need to apply for a TB certificate. And the countries are listed on the tb.gov.uk web pages to have a look. Okay, next page. Let's talk about the evidence of living costs. So essentially, you need to show your first year of your tuition fees plus the living costs in a bank account or other method for a period of 28 days. So most of you on this call would be postgraduate or masters or PhD students. So if we look at the postgraduate one there for masters as an example, your fees might be between 18 to 20,500. This is not taking into account any early bird discount or the 4,000 discount that Tom mentioned earlier. So this is just to give you an example of how to work out what you need. So the living costs at the moment, you need to show 1171 per month for a maximum of 9 months. So 10,539 is the amount you would need to show in a bank account. It is a very odd amount, but there's reasons why the government have actually come up with that figure. It's based on the student loans that's given to home students. So to give you an example, below there, you can see if your tuition fees were 18,000, you've paid 3,500 deposit, 14,500 are your tuition fees still to pay. If you add on the living costs of 10,539, you can see in this example, 25,039 is the amount you would need to have in a bank account for a period of 28 days before you submit your visa. This is for self-paying applicants. If you are being sponsored or have a loan, then we'll talk about that in a moment. So it's actually quite a lot of money to have in a bank account. So please make sure you have that there. Again, in the next session, we go into this in a lot more detail. If you're, having parents providing the bank statements. We go into a lot more detail. So this is just to give you a quick snapshot. Thank you. There are some exceptions. Some countries have differential arrangements with the UK and do not need to show any evidence of finances at all. The link there will take you to the gov.uk page where it lists all the countries this applies to. Generally speaking, it's a lot of European countries, and then we've got America, Canada. There's a number of countries there. So please have a look to see if the country is on there. Having looked at the nationality of most attendees here, then most of you will need to show the evidence. But you can have a look on that link there to see where your country fits. For those who, there might be a few of you here who are already in the UK, either you've been studying already in the UK or you're on a working visa, switching to a student visa. If you've been here for longer than 12 months in the UK, then again, you do not need to show evidence of finances. Okay, next slide. So if you're a self-fee payer, so you are actually paying the money yourself, or your parents are paying it for you, so you're paying the hard cash yourself. The evidence needs to be in a bank account for at least continuous 28 days prior to visa submission. If the amount has actually gone down by, even if it's just £1 lower than it should be, your visa will be refused. So you need to make sure you calculate what you need and have it in the bank account ready. The document must be no older than 30 days as well. So if you're using a bank account, if you've got the money in there 3 months ago, make sure you print off a fresh document that's no older than 30 days. Okay, allowing for fluctuations in currency. So even though the example I gave earlier is quite specific, 25039, we always say allow for fluctuations. Depends on how much money you have, but ideally you'd have maybe £1,000 fluctuation in your account, especially if you're in a country where currencies are a bit more volatile. So please allow for that. And if you're using the parent or guardian bank statements, there are more documents needed, and we'll go into that in more detail in our next session. Thank you. So student visa application costs. The standard application is £524 per applicant. I say per applicant because if you are bringing dependents, each dependent would need to pay that fee too. The average time is 3 weeks to process your visa from overseas, but you can get it faster by paying an additional £500, and that takes 5 days to process. The services available in the visa application centre you use, it might vary. Some visa centres do not offer a faster priority. Usually you don't need that, but if for some reason you're delayed or your finances aren't ready in your bank account and it's getting towards your enrollment date in January and you think you might be late to the UK, then you might want to think, right, I need to get this visa done faster. There's even an even faster one you can go for, super priority, and I think that's another £1,000 on top. So, if you've got the money, you can pay to get it quicker if needed. On top of the actual application fee, like I mentioned earlier, there is the immigration health surcharge fee, which is currently £776 per year for each year of leave granted. So I've given an example there of an undergraduate degree. If you were a master's degree, which I think most of you are, then it would be 776 for the year, but you do get a wrap-up period at the end of your visa of 4 months. So it tips you into another year. So you'll get an extra half charge there. So your fee would be 1164. So yeah, just if you're not sure how much you need, you can have a look on the gov.uk webpage. Your agent will know, or you can just send us an email and we can help you with that. Okay, thank you. So bringing dependents with you. So this is only applicable to those who have dependents they want to bring to the UK during their time in the UK studying. Rules are quite strict now. You can only bring dependents if you're studying on a PhD or an equivalent research-based degree. Or if you are fully sponsored by a national government. What I would suggest you do is if you want to bring dependents with you and you are not sure, you can just email my team, Student Immigration Advice, and we will actually confirm if you can bring dependents or not. But it has got a lot stricter. I have put down there Masters of Research. There's been some confusion because it's got the word research in there. Some applicants have been thinking they can bring dependents on that. Unfortunately, not. A Masters of Research is a master's level course, and you cannot bring dependents on an MRes. But please email us if you need confirmation. Okay. So after you submit your visa, say you've got all your documents, all your finances ready, you're great, you're ready to go for your visa. You've submitted your visa, all good. Now, we have seen lately some refusals based on the UKVI credibility interview. So most students will be required to do an interview, and you'll get an email request from the Home Office or UKVI saying, inviting you to this interview. So it's done on Teams, like we are chatting now. So despite having everything ready, you could be refused. And we have seen quite a few, an increase in refusals because of students not being prepared for the UKVI credibility interview. Now, some of you might have already had an interview with the University of Plymouth, like a credibility interview with our staff, or might have one coming in the future. This is separate. This is by the Home Office, by the UKVI. So you must practice. Now, I did email, most of you should have had an email this morning. Well, those with unconditional offers, sorry, would have had an email with a link to our webpage, giving you preparing techniques for the interview. The link is there as well if anybody else wants to have a look. Really practice. Go through the questions. We can't give you the answers. We're not allowed to do that, but we've given you a really good set of questions. So go through them, practice, really get to know why you're coming to the UK. Which other countries did you look at? Why have you chosen the UK over them? And why Plymouth compared to other universities? And then why your degree? And then look at the contents of your degree, the modules. Has it got a placement? What is the structure of your degree? Is it project work or the exams? Really get to know the degree you've applied for. Because there have been questions, there's been some refusals where the caseworker has asked the applicant, what modules have you got in semester one? And the applicant didn't know. So it's a little bit harsh. Some of the questioning is harsh, but we don't want to scare you, but please be prepared. We don't want you to go into all this work to apply for the visa and for you to be refused at this credibility interview stage. But have a look at the webpage and all the help you need is there. Thank you. Now, jumping forward again, you've got your visa granted, great. First thing you need to do is check the dates and details are correct. So if there's a mistake on the dates or the course or anything really that is a spelling mistake, please just email us and we will help you get it corrected. It's not a problem. There are a load of links there about how the e-visa works, how to travel with an e-visa. So when these slides are emailed to you, you'll be able to access all these. So I obviously won't be going into that now. No longer do we have like a physical BRP card. Like with many countries in the world, we are switching to e-visas. So you might want to have a look at those self-help, very short video clips there. Okay. So any other information you need, I didn't really go into sponsored students or loans, educational loans, any other types of funding there. So please, if you are available to come to the session at 1:15 today, please come along. If you can't attend, we can send you slides if you want to request these, and you can request them by email in the student immigration advice email. I don't know if that's going to be put in the chat somewhere, but please come along to this straight after for just 1 more hour of your life, just to make sure you get your visa granted. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nina. That was excellent. And the student immigration advice is so important and so specialized that it's really valuable to have Nina and her team there to help guide you as you come in to apply. Now, whilst Nina was talking, we had a couple of questions come in, and in case you missed them in the Q&A, I'm going to draw your attention to them now. One of them was asking, do we have a link for private housing? And my colleague Ellie has provided a link, so it's in the Q&A chat for you to go, pop it open, and then you can come back to it after today's webinar. We've also had asked question asking, what's the average weekly cost for accommodation in Plymouth? And what's great about Plymouth is that there's a range of accommodation available to suit different budgets. So accommodation can range from 100 to 200 pounds per week within the city with private accommodation providers, and that will be based on location, quality, facilities. As an example, you probably can't see it on the camera, but from my window here, I look out and across the road is the nearest student accommodation that I can see that's private student accommodation for people to look for. So that's how close and convenient you can be. And the campus itself, I'm sure you know this already, but being nestled right in the heart of the city centre means that location is a perfect, such a great place to be based. But there's lots of different accommodation providers across the city, as I say, suiting different budgets. Now, preparing for travel. We've done all of this visa stuff now. We've got the visa, we've got the passport back from the visa office, and we've booked our flights. Once you've booked your flights, make sure that or when you are booking your flights, make sure that you check the dates on your e-visa, that you can arrive within the dates that are provided. And you need to think about where you're going to fly into as well, I'm sure. There's lots of airports within the UK that are within easy reach of the city. You could be landing into Heathrow, into Gatwick, into Bristol, into Cardiff, into Exeter. There's many different options for you. In terms of dates, well, I've already mentioned one of them earlier, but I'm going to remind you again, the early payment deadline. If you pay your full tuition fee before Wednesday, the 7th of January, you will be eligible for the early payment award, giving you a £500 deduction on your tuition fee on top of your Welcome to Plymouth scholarship of £4,000. So potentially £4,500 off of your tuition fee. The deadline for applications, if you're, I'm sure everybody watching this has already applied, but if you've got friends that might want to come as well, or someone you know that might be thinking to apply, they can still apply for a place in the January intake as late as Tuesday, the 13th of January, 2026. But that's a deadline. It is not a recommendation. If you are interested to apply, apply as early as possible. Deposit payment deadlines then are the 16th of January, and our CAS issue deadline is Monday, the 19th of January. So if you don't have your CAS by that point, we will not be able to welcome you into the January intake. Our induction week starts Monday the 19th, and that's a really good opportunity. If you haven't studied in the UK already, then this is especially important for you because this is where we help you to integrate into life in the UK. We'll help you to understand some of the differences in how studying works in the UK and some of the things that will be different about studying in the UK compared to studying where you might have come from before. And it just generally helps you to settle into life at campus. So if you are at all able to do so, make sure you're here by Monday the 19th, ready to go. We will have activities ready for you to make sure that your studies are as beneficial to you as possible. We have an International Student Welcome Day on Friday, the 23rd of January, running from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And there'll be lots of activities taking place there. You'll get the chance to meet different support teams from across the university, and you get the chance to find out a bit more about some of the services that we have, be that services in the library, be that our international student experience services that we have. These people will be there to help you integrate and to help you understand what it is that you can do. Now, for most students, teaching is going to start on Monday, the 26th of January. But if you are one of the students starting on our MRes in scientific diving, a new course starting this January, then you must be here by Monday, the 12th of January, as that's when teaching will start for that program. If you can't meet that deadline, you must get in touch with us. But that is specifically for the MRes in scientific diving. The last day to enroll for all students will be Friday, the 6th of February, 2026. And there is an international student settling in event after everybody's arrived, got settled in, just to share their experiences and to make sure that everything is going okay. You know where everything is that you're going to need for the rest of your studies. That's on Wednesday, the 25th of February, from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So make sure you note those dates down. Make sure that you're here on time, that you're ready to start your classes. Make sure you've allowed yourself that time to move in. You know, you're not going to be able to just turn up on and start straight away. You're going to need a little bit of time to move and settle and get yourself adjusted. So make sure that you plan accordingly. Now, the other thing is going to be orienting yourself to the city. Now, Plymouth is a really nice sized city centre, actually, in the city itself. It's not too big, and the campus itself is not huge. It's a nice size. It's you can walk around it easily enough, but there are a lot of buildings. As a new person myself to the university, I started in the summer. I can tell you that there are a lot of buildings, and that even I don't know where they all are yet. And our virtual tour gives you a chance to just figure out where is it that I'm going for class? And when I get out of class, where can I go to grab a coffee and something for lunch? And then where's the city? Where can I go shopping, or where could I potentially be going to find a part-time job? And where could I be living? Most importantly, where is the beach? So if you go on to our virtual tour, you'll be able to take a look around, see where everything is, see how it fits together, see some of the places popping up on your screen right now, like Smeaton Tower, and just how close they are to the university. And you can access the virtual tour on the QR code on screen now. So again, grab that, open that up, stick that to one side, and later on today, after Nina's webinar this afternoon, you can be sat having a look through, planning where it is that you're going to explore when you get to Plymouth. Now, let's have a look at accommodation. The city has a range of private halls of residence available for undergraduate and postgraduate students. That can range. So you could be living in a shared student house, and you can find out the details of these online. And as I mentioned, we had a question about that earlier, and there is a link in the Q&A for people to have a look and see where they can find the details of some of these shared student houses. So you could be in a house, something like that, in the community. As I pointed to, there are private halls of residence. As I said, literally outside my window. And they offer you a slightly different experience. So there are these different things. Now, these are going to come with different price points, and you probably want to check as well what kind of things are included in that price. You might look and see that private halls of residence might be more expensive than a shared student house. But if you move into that house, do you then have to pay the bills on top? That kind of thing. If you move into the halls of residence, are those bills included? So you need to look and plan and budget. Get in touch with private letting agents and companies, and see what's available to you. And there's an awful lot available to you that is a very short walk within the city centre. Or like I do, you might be living slightly further afield and just want to hop on a bus to come into the university. It's common. It's very normal in the UK that you would be required to have what's called a guarantor. So this is someone who would agree to be making your payment if you were unable to make payment. and they would have to sign to agree to do that. So it might be that your landlord, if you move into a private halls of residence, or the company, if you're moving into purpose-built private halls of residence, they might ask you to provide a guarantor, and that's perfectly normal, and you should expect for that to happen. One of the really great services available via the University of Plymouth Students' Union is a free tenancy checking service. So if you're given a contract, I imagine I wasn't when I was a student, you might not be very familiar with signing contracts, what you should expect to see, what you wouldn't expect to see. You can get in touch with the university student union and they can have a check of your contract and they can provide checklists on what you should look for when you're viewing properties. So you can make sure that the property that you're renting meets the minimum standards within the UK and is a good place for you to live. So those services are there for you. In terms of packing, this is obviously a guide. You pack whatever you want, but some advice from our years of working with students. First of all, check your luggage allowance with your airline. You can only bring what you are allowed to bring. So make sure that you check that and weigh your baggage and measure your baggage to fit with what you have booked on your airline itself. Uh, Along with your luggage, you need to be able to carry it. So when you get to the UK, especially if you're traveling by into London, say, or one of the airports further afield, you will need to be able to move your bags around onto whatever transport you are then taking from the airport to the city. So make sure whatever you pack, you're okay moving it about yourself. All your valuables, all of your official paperwork must be in your hand luggage, okay? Any documentation relating to your visa, I recommend that you would print off your offer email. You should carry your academic certificates with you. Um, Make sure all of those things are with you in your hand luggage. And you are coming to the UK in January. I would advise you to bring a warm coat. Many of our students, many of you on the call today, will be coming from a country slightly warmer than the UK. I've recently returned from Nigeria, and I promise you that when I got off the plane in the UK, I was putting on my coat, my scarf, my hat. So you're going to want those things when you first land. There are some things you really don't need to bring with you. You can very easily pick them up in the shops nearby to here. So you don't need to, we wouldn't recommend that you bring bedding or, kitchen appliances, rice cookers, pots and pans. These things are very heavy, they take up a lot of space, and it's very, very easy for you to go and purchase them in shops within the city centre. Shops like Wilko can provide very reasonable items that would be perfectly suitable for what you need. There's also a number of charity shops in the city that would be able to sell you secondhand or nearly new items at very reasonable prices. And so you can take advantage of those as well. We really do recommend that you bring a preloaded payment card or an international credit card with you to use. When you first arrive, it might take you a couple of weeks to get your bank account set up and your card received so that you can start to withdraw British pounds. So make sure that you bring a tool that you can make payments with when you're first here. The university itself is a cashless campus, so it would be no use to you to bring wads and wads of pound notes to use on the campus. You just wouldn't be able to. And actually, all of the businesses within the city centre will accept payment cards. So you can do that. You can also, of course, use things like Google Pay, Apple Pay on your mobile devices to make your payments as well. Those would be accepted here on the campus and within businesses within the city centre. So that's also a convenient way for you to do that. Now, if any of you are taking any prescription medication, the advice is that you should bring 60 to 90 days worth of supply with you. Again, would probably want to carry that in your hand luggage. You should also, along with that, bring the G whatever documentation you have from your doctor or your pharmacist listing what the medication is. And when you reach the UK, you should register with a GP as soon as possible and go in and see them so that you can get your automatic your renewals, your prescription renewals as easily as possible. So make sure that you do that. Do check to make sure that the medication that you take is something that can be brought to the UK. And then finally, bring something that's going to remind you of home. Bring something. In my office, you probably won't pan around to see it enough, but even just in my office, I have some flowers and pictures from holidays and things. Whatever it is, pictures of family, pictures of friends, little mementos that you can have in your flat just to give you that little reminder at home. That would be great for you to pack and bring with you. When you arrive to the UK, we think most people, and this slide's gone slightly askew, sorry, but it's okay. We can work with that. We expect most of you are probably going to fly into one of the London airports. I recently flew into London Heathrow. It's very, very straightforward to get from those airports down to Plymouth. If you're looking for the lowest cost option, you probably want to look at something like the National Express or Flixbus. These buses will commonly pick you up from the airport and will bus you to Plymouth. And that is very easy for you to do. Your luggage can all go on with National Express. They'll put that under the bus for you, and you have a nice, comfy seat. You'll even have Wi-Fi on the bus, I believe, and it's very straightforward for you to get down. It takes about probably 4 to 5 hours, depending on the time of day that you arrive. If you want to use the train, again, it's very straightforward. From the airport itself, I believe, without even having to go outside, you can get into one of the trains to travel from Heathrow to Paddington. And then at Paddington Station, there are direct trains available that come straight down to Plymouth. Plymouth train station is it might, if I went very, very slow, take me 5 minutes to walk to Plymouth train station. It's very convenient and it's located very close to a lot of accommodation in the campus. Plymouth coach station is located in the town centre, city centre, sorry. And again, very convenient for you to get to. Uh, the my glamorous assistant has just come in with another version of the slide. Now, from London Gatwick, again, it's very easy for you to get to Reading train station and they connect on the same service from Paddington to Plymouth. So very easy for you to do. If you are coming into Bristol or Exeter airports, again, from Bristol, there is a train that you can take that connects to Bristol Temple Meads train station, which is the main train station in Bristol and is a beautiful piece of architecture if you like train stations. And then you can connect straight down to Plymouth. There's also buses again, as we mentioned earlier, National Express, Stagecoach, Flixbus that you can choose from. If you're coming into Exeter Airport, this is Plymouth's closest airport that has major international connections with KLM. And you could either use taxis or bus services to get from the airport to Exeter St David's train station, and then it's a quick train down to Plymouth from there. So the key thing is there's options for you. There's a range of airports that you can fly into, and whichever airport you fly into, it's very straightforward, very easy to connect with reasonably priced public transport that will connect you down to Plymouth. Okay. For further information, do check out the QR code on the screen. And I'm sure that if you speak to some of our older students, they'll be able to tell you just how straightforward it is, or speak to myself or one of the team who regularly travel from these different airports, and we can let you know what we normally do in that situation. So, the exciting, nerve-wracking, maybe first days in Plymouth. What should you do when you arrive? We recommend that you let your family know that you have arrived safely. I can tell you that I'm 38, and when I travel still, I still let my mum know that I've arrived wherever I am because they're going to worry and they're going to be excited for you. If you come to the events that we mentioned earlier, we can provide you as well with some SIM cards, and you can easily pick up SIM cards in the airports on arrival and things like that. So that will be very straightforward to do. Check into your accommodation. Make sure that you get in, make sure that everything is all right. If you have to do any checklists or anything for your new landlords, get those done. Make sure that you record any issues so that but generally just make sure you get yourself settled in. You got somewhere you can go and rest when you need to. Uh, you do need to access your e-visa and get a study share code. So make sure that you do that as soon as you're settled into that accommodation. Make sure you complete your right to study checks. Now that will be online for you to do, and make sure that you complete your online enrollment. These two things are vital for starting your course. So please make sure you do that. Once you do that, you will have access to your induction schedule and your class timetable. And it is compulsory that you attend your course induction. So make sure that you complete those steps and that you complete your course induction as soon as possible. Register at the University Medical Centre with a doctor. Now, I mentioned that earlier if you're carrying prescriptions with you or not, but you don't want to wait to register with a doctor until you need it. That's something that you're going to want to do as soon as you arrive so that when you need it, it's ready for you. Open a UK bank account. No, I'm not going to advise you that you should choose one bank over another. There are several bank accounts in the UK. There are several websites that provide really good advice and comparisons on UK bank accounts and student accounts. Places like moneysavingexpert.co.uk would be able to give you that advice and would be far better qualified than me to do so. So I'm going to leave that one to you, but make sure that you act on that very early on. Make sure that you've got it put it in your diary now after this. Make sure that you're attending the International Student Welcome Day on Friday, the 23rd of January. And make sure that you attend the social events and meet new friends. And I'd really recommend as well on that that's one of the most important things you can do to make sure you don't end up getting homesick or feeling lonely or isolated. Within the Students' Union, we have a range of clubs and societies. So go check out something that you've got an interest in already. Maybe find something that you haven't tried before that you could try as a new hobby or activity. There's lots of different clubs that you can join. It might be sailing or it might be something on the ocean like that you might not have had an opportunity to do before if you don't live in an ocean-based city like Plymouth. The International Student Welcome Day, let me tell you a little bit more about that now. So this is taking place in Roll Building, room 605. Roll Building is impossible to miss. It's right in the center of the campus. It's one of the tallest buildings on the campus. It's also conveniently located next to Drake's Cafe, where you will definitely at some point be going and meeting friends for a coffee. So you will be able to find the building quite easily and take the lift to sixth floor where the International Student Welcome Day will be taking place. I mentioned SIM cards earlier. We will have 3 SIM cards available for you at that event. There's activities there that are designed to help you to meet new people, and student ambassadors and staff will be on hand to answer questions that you have and make sure that you've got the information that you need and that you're settled into life. Now, we're still finalizing the program for the event, but that will be on your International Student Welcome page early in January. So again, we've got these handy QR codes for you on many of these slides today. Grab that, be ready to look at that after this event, and you can get the information that you need there. The other date, we've mentioned it before. Again, stick it in your diary now, Wednesday, the 25th of February from 4 till 6 o'clock. We have the International Student Settling In event just to make sure and check in with you after you've been here a couple of weeks that everything's going well. And if you miss any of these events, the information is available for you on the student portal, which you'll need your login for, or you can visit the Student Hub, which I believe is in the library. I'm sure that one of my colleagues will jump into the chat and correct me if I've just got that wrong. In terms of students and services, what can you expect from us to help you to make the most of your time at Plymouth? We have financial support and guidance available to you, and that includes having letters that you would need to open your UK bank account. We confirm attendance for sponsors, which is required for your visa sponsorship. But if you have disabilities as well, and this is something I'm really passionate about actually, because when we refer for people for disabilities, or it's termed as well learning support here, we're talking about things like dyslexia or dyspraxia, which I am dyspraxic myself and received support when I was studying. So if you have any kind of learning need, additional learning need of any type or any disability, or you require some sort of support to help you to meet your potential when you're studying, please just let us know. Please let us know. We will more than likely have encountered many students with similar needs before, and we will more than likely have the tools available to enable us to support you. And I understand that with students coming from all over the world. In some parts of the world, that might be support that might not have been as easily accessible. There may even be stigma around some of these things like dyslexia or like health conditions. I've seen that as well. But here at Plymouth, we are very positive about supporting students in that kind of position. So if you have anything that you need help with, come and let someone know. And if you don't know who to ask when you get here, come find us in the international recruitment team and we'll signpost you to the right service. We also have well-being support, counselling, mental health support, pastoral and spiritual support as well. And again, there's absolutely no stigma or disadvantage to you in seeking out these support services. If you need a little bit of support looking after your mental health, just as with your physical health, we have the tools available to provide you some support with that. And please just let us know. We're more than happy to provide you that support. We have enrollment and digital support. So that's making sure that you are set up as a student of the University of Plymouth properly and that you have access to all of the online and offline tools that you would need. And digital support as well, making sure you have access to the right kind of software technology that would be needed for you to complete your course, depending on what that is. We have learning support and study skills. Now, this covers a wide range of things. This could be from matters as straightforward as how to correctly reference in written documents, but it could be how to plan research or how to structure essays and so on. That kind of support is there within the university for you to have. There is Nina's team and the International Student Advice Team there to provide you with advice about visa matters and your study visa. And there is student conduct and speak up reporting as well, which would be if you have an issue with your course to be able to make that known to us and have that addressed. So these support services, as it says here, there is an email address, there is a website, there is social media accounts, telephone numbers, lots of ways for you to connect with these professionals who can help you make the most of your investment in studying with us and have the best possible experience that you can. In terms of additional information, you can find all the information you need around support services and things like that and the QR code at the top of the screen there. There is the University of Plymouth app for you to download that will give you lots of information at the touch of your fingertips in your pocket as you go about your daily life. There is the Hello Project Buddy scheme there to make sure that you are supported and connected to someone who can provide you some guidance. There is the Students' Union, which will arrange many events, activities, and student groups. And something I'd like to flag as well. Actually, our Student Union president this year is an international student, is a student from West Africa, and I can't remember now if he's from Nigeria or Ghana. I think he's a Nigerian. But it's nice for you to know that your Students' Union is led by someone who's going to have understanding of what it's like to be a international student coming into the university. We mentioned already about disability and long-term health conditions and the support needed there. Again, just let us know if there's something we can help with. The final thing, if you are experiencing any kind of unexpected financial hardship due to unexpected costs or matters that have arisen throughout your studies, there is potentially support available for you via the Student Hub. And if you would like independent advice, independent of the university, there is the UKISA website, which is listed here. UKISA is the UK Council of International Student Affairs, and that's a wonderful resource that provides you lots of varied information. It's a resource that I would use myself when looking up things to make sure I was giving current and accurate information. So I recommend if you haven't looked at that website already, that you spend some time on that just to understand some of the things to expect when you move to the UK. And of course, I work for the university, but it's really valuable for you to hear what people's experiences have been from studying here. People like yourselves. We have Saba here from India, who talks about what an amazing journey it's been, what an adventure, how she's been able to challenge her potential at the university and build her confidence personally and professionally. And we have Osu Divwemu from Nigeria, who talks about the Students' Union, Nina's student advice team, and how they've introduced him to parts of the university, and how he engaged with the African Society, and how that helped him to be integrated into the university and feel like a part of the community. So I think that draws us to a close. You can keep in touch with us. Our team is available to you on email at international@plymouth.ac.uk. We will be away for a short while over the Christmas holidays, but we will be back in the new year and be able to either provide you information and advice or point you in the right direction within the university to get that information or advice. Our website obviously is available and contains a wide range of information across the whole of the university. And there are our Facebook and LinkedIn profile pages where you can connect with the university and start to see a bit more about what life is like here. So thank you for coming. I will stop sharing my screen. And now I can't really see what's going on. Let me move things around here so that I can see things a little bit better. We will have had throughout the course of this questions come in on the Q&A that I couldn't see. So I'm just going to bring these up now and we will go through those for you. Oh, and I've just dropped that in the wrong place. Here we go. Okay. So we had the questions around private housing and housing costs. Is induction week to be started on the 26th of January? As mentioned in the slides, induction week starts on the 19th of January for all courses apart from the MRes, where teaching starts on the 12th of January. Someone has said, I uploaded my statement on my portal. It's told to upload my final certificate, but my certificate isn't ready until the end of January, February. Can I go ahead and make my deposit? We've recommended there that you connect with the admissions team. Would you advise to get your visa before you make travel and accommodation arrangement? Probably a good idea, but depends on when you're doing things. Um, Flight bookings, is it advisable for a return or one-way ticket, and which airport is closest to Plymouth? Um, that's completely up to you. It depends on your circumstances and what your plans are. If you book one way or return, we wouldn't advise you either. That's totally personal decision. In terms of which airport is the closest, either Newquay or Exeter Airport are the closest, but they have more limited connections. Many of our students, most times when I would travel, we would be flying from one of the airports in London. But again, that's totally a personal choice. Depends on where you want to fly into, who you're flying with, for example. How do I know if medication? There is a link If you take medication and you're not sure if you're allowed to bring it into the UK, there is a link that has been provided in the Q&A where you can check that. And so on, so on, so on. Submit my visa application on November the 4th, and it's been over a month without a decision. We've given details there for collecting, connecting with the visa team. How do we get access to the visa session by Nina and her team? There is a Zoom link there for you to join. It starts at 1:15 today in 15 minutes. So keep that, make sure that you are online and joining in with that session later. Now, I think that's all of the questions that had come in. Can we talk a bit about working while studying? I saw a student ambassador role for Plymouth drop in my LinkedIn inbox. I guess one has to have a visa before applying. So there's a lot of part-time work opportunities. The benefit of being nestled in a city centre in the way that we are as a university campus is that provides you really close access to a lot of businesses in the city centre where there may be part-time working opportunities. If you are working part-time, you cannot work more than 20 hours per week during term time. But during the holidays, official holidays, that is, and make sure that you check. And if you need to confirm it, I'm sure that you can check with the Student Immigration Advice Team on when the official term dates are and aren't, but you can work longer outside of the holidays, within the holidays then. So that's available to you. Can we talk about the scholarship? We absolutely can. We have two funding options for students. We have the £4,000 Welcome to Plymouth Scholarship. That's available for students. And we ran through instructions earlier. If you go into your student portal, look at your funding applications button, you can then see and accept your £4,000 scholarship. But as well as that, there is the option to get a further £500 early acceptance award if you make payment. And I gave the date earlier, and I want to say that the date was the 7th of January to make payment for full payment of your tuition fees. We can then provide you with an early payment award as well. So potentially up to £4,500 in funding available for students. Did anybody have any other questions for us? Uh, Now, I think if anybody wants to put their hand up to ask a question verbally, I have the power to allow you to talk. We can try that, or you're welcome to put your questions into the Q&A. If not, we've gone through a lot of material there today, and I hope that that's been really useful for you and that that's given you reasons to be excited and a bit more information about what to expect when you join us in January. We are always available for you. You can contact us at international@plymouth.ac.uk. And we have people, we're ready to answer or signpost you to the correct service based on whatever question it is that you want to ask. But I think with no hands up and with no unanswered questions in the Q&A, I think we are probably done. In which case, I just want to thank you for coming and joining us today for today's session. To remind you that Nina's session will be starting at 1:15. Make sure that you join that. And thank you, Nina, for your student immigration advice information. That was really valuable. And just to say that we're really excited that you're joining us. You've made an excellent decision to choose University of Plymouth. It's been the starting point of many great careers for many of our alumni. And it's a wonderful city to come and live in. And you are really coming at a really excellent time as well. The city itself is thriving, is growing, is a wonderful place to be a part of. There are new opportunities coming. So I really think you've made an excellent choice in choosing University of Plymouth. We will see you in January. And if you need anything in the meantime, do just get in touch. And